Good morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Tori. Today is Monday, February 7th, 2022. And we begin with a 15-year-old from Russia stealing the show at the Winter Games. Figure skater Kamila Valieva wowed the world when she stepped on the ice for her first Olympics this past weekend. Saturday's event was the team short program, and afterwards, even her rivals from the U.S. stood up to give her a standing ovation. NBC commentator and two-time Olympian Johnny Weir went so far as to say Kamila is the best women's skater he's ever seen. The judges seem to agree. Her first performance earned her the second highest short program score in history, topped only by her own score at last month's European Championships. Remarkably, Kamila isn't even the youngest Olympian in Beijing. That distinction goes to Anzeka Andrakova, a ski jumper from the Czech Republic, who is also 15, but 2 months younger than Kamila. Queen Elizabeth is now the longest reigning head of state in British history. Yesterday, she celebrated 70 years on the throne, a position she's held since 1952, when she was just 25 years old. In the years since, the Queen has outlasted 7 popes, 14 U.S. presidents, and 13 British prime ministers. And while this February marks the official anniversary of her ascension, the real royal hoopla for her Platinum Jubilee begins on June 2nd, when there will be 4 days of parades, pudding contests, plane flybys, and parties. The Queen, also being a master of messaging, was keen to make the most of the attention she received this past weekend. In a statement outlining the future of the monarchy, she told the world that when her son Prince Charles becomes king, she would like his somewhat controversial second wife to be known as Queen Camilla. You have favorite colors, and according to a new study, so too do mosquitoes. And that means we may have some control over whether we get bit. The wing nuisances are attracted to us in the first place because our breath contains carbon dioxide. And according to new research published in Nature Communications, every shade of human skin gives off a tasty red-orange signal that beckons the bugs to bite. But in a mosquito's mind, not all colors are created equal. Scientists sprayed a bunch of color swatches with carbon dioxide, then watched as the mosquitoes gravitated toward the red, orange, black, and teal ones, but completely ignored green, purple, blue, and white. The research stopped short of measuring whether wearing certain colors will keep us from becoming skeeter snacks, but the scientists do think they're onto something that could help them design better sprays and repellents. It may be time to rethink the old saying, cash is king. According to NPR, the United States government is mulling the future of money and whether to take our dollars digital. The U.S. would still mint coins and print bills, but it would also issue another option known as CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency, which would be stored in apps or digital wallets on our smartphones. We'd then use it to pay for things the way we do with Venmo or Apple Pay. A new study from the Federal Reserve shows that the technology could process 1.7 million transactions per second, which is reportedly more than 2.5 times what some credit cards can handle. While it's a game-changing prospect, the U.S. would not be leading the way. China is already taking a digital currency on a test drive, and India is about to. An 86-year-old Bengals superfan broke into tears of joy last week watching his team stun the Chiefs to make it to the Super Bowl for the first time in more than 30 years. According to CBS News, Jim Lipscomb was at the first-ever Bengals game in Cincinnati, Ohio back in 1968 and hasn't missed watching a game since. His heartwarming reaction to the end of the back-and-forth thriller with Kansas City went viral thanks to his granddaughter, who posted it along with a GoFundMe page called Get Grandpa to the Super Bowl. Tickets for the game range from $5,000 to $46,000. I know it's a big ask, his granddaughter said, but he is the biggest Bengals fan out there. The effort worked. The campaign raised $42,000, enough to send Mr. Lipscomb and a caregiver from Ohio to L.A. for kickoff this coming Sunday. That's it for KidNuz. Now today's KidNuz quiz. How old is the Russian figure skater turning heads in Beijing? Kamila Valieva is 15. Queen Elizabeth has held the throne in England for how long? 70 years. Mosquitoes seem to have preferences about what? Color. The U.S. is considering adding what to its currency? A digital dollar. In today's Kid News Kicker, when you tune into the Olympics, it might look like a winter wonderland, but almost all of the snow is fake. It's been too warm in China for the real stuff, so organizers have been feverishly using dozens of generators and hundreds of blowers to create about 42 million cubic feet of skiable powder. According to a report from London's Loughborough University, the Games in Beijing will mark the first time Olympic athletes will compete almost entirely on artificial snow. Before we head out, it's time to recognize our teachers in their classrooms, starting with Miss Sylvia at Water's Edge Village School in Corolla on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. To Texas for Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Rachel, and Miss Zona at Ouida Bailey Middle School in Royce City. And Miss Jordan and her Hudson Hornets at Bonner Elementary in Hudson. Mrs. Donegan and her Lions at Washington Irving in Durant, Oklahoma. And Mrs. Meta Penningen at St. Charles in Newport, Michigan. Thanks for listening. Please consider a donation to keep us on the air and ad-free. And we'll see you back here for more Kid News tomorrow morning.